Ghana is unlikely to achieve the 90-90-90 treatment for all to reduce drastically the AIDS epidemic, as there is an alarming increase of Ghana's HIV AIDS population from 150,000 in 2014 to 334,000 in 2019. The 90-90-90 treatment means that by 2020, 90% of all people living with HIV will know their HIV status. 90% of all people with diagnosed HIV infection will receive sustained antiretroviral therapy, and 90% of people who will receive the antiretroviral therapy will have viral suppression. The estimated number of new HIV infection from Ghana's HIV fact sheets is 19,931, with adults from the age of 15 plus constituting 83%, youth between 15 years and 24 years constituting 28%, and children from 0 to 15 years constituting 17%. The number of women infected with HIV is at 4,382, and that is 78%, with the number of men standing at 1,175, which is 22%. Before the discovery of antiretroviral drugs, HIV/AIDS was literally a death sentence, and the stigma that came with it was grave as well. Stigma is one of the major reasons why people would not want to know their status or get tested. Stigma has driven a lot of people into their graves when they could have been on treatment and lived their best possible lives ever. But the story of Reverend John Azuma, his wife and 4 negative children who have been living through the stigma of HIV/AIDS for the past 19 years is a very brave and inspiring one.
Me and my wife suffered a lot of stigma.
What kind of stigma did you tell me some?
When we got tested those days, can you imagine
19 years ago?
19 years ago, the church I was sacked from my church. The senior pastor said, "Oh, I can't work with you again because I'm HIV positive." The news circulates all the way to our home. We're living in a compound house. The people says the landlord should sack us because we are HIV. And when we visit the washroom, they say we have leave AIDS in the washroom. Therefore, they will not visit the place. My children, some were stigmatized at school, and even food. There's a popular food, wache. My wife liked wache. One day we went to buy wache. By seeing us and seeing our money, they say there is AIDS in the money.
Reverend Azuma, together with his wife, run an orphanage with over 40 children living with HIV, where he and his wife help the children to live normal lives with their condition.
The number keep growing. Now we are now 47, and these children, to God be the glory, as they came. Initially, they came in a very deplorable stage, very sick. They are not taking their medicines due to stigma. They are not going to school. A lot of things are happening to these children. But to God be the glory, as they came here, together with my wife and other people who are showing love to us, we are able to take them to school. We follow up to their hospitals to pick their antiretroviral for them. They are taking it and they are doing very well.
The percentage of adults and youths infected by HIV for the year 2018, according to the Ghana HIV fact sheet, is 83% and 23% respectively. It is a bit dicey to pinpoint one factor for this increase in number, but a number of students from the Ghana Institute of Journalism (GIJ) attributed the increase in the number to the fading out of commercials and awareness of how real HIV/AIDS is. Selassie Abel, a level 200 student of the Ghana Institute of Journalism, says most of the youth are still very ignorant about how real HIV/AIDS is.
It's ignorance because we all know like HIV is overrated. They've talked about it on many platforms. We know much about it, but the youth these days are just ignorant. Like we feel like, okay, I'm having fun. You only live once. Let me do what I like. So. Okay. That's how we get it.
Do you know your status?
Nope.
Would you prefer to know or not to know?
I would prefer to know.
So that means you definitely get tested?
Yes, please.
Elikem Pili, also a level 200 student, says he believes he knows his status as he hasn't engaged in any risky sexual activities. He also raised concern about how awareness of the virus has gone down.
Do you know your status?
I don't know my status.
Would you prefer to know or not to know?
As it stands now, I'll in quote say I know my status because I know I'm not engaged in sexual activities, so I know I'm clean and safe.
Even though these students know what the virus is about, most of them would prefer not to know their status except to stay safe. Marie Antoinette Kosiba, a level 300 student, also complained about the lack of awareness. She says this could be the reason why the number have increased among adults and the youth.
Back then, when the HIV started, there were so many commercials and ads about how to deal with HIV, how to deal with people living with HIV, how to prevent yourself from getting HIV. But as time went on, it felt like because people already know, they don't have to preach about it again. And I think that is where the mistake happened, because even though someone knows, there are other people who don't know. So we also have to continue to preach about it, that these and these are what you have to do if you have HIV, these are the things you have to do if you don't want to get HIV and all those things. I think if they had continued to create the awareness, like, people wouldn't be suffering and the number would have gone down.
The Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Mr. Steve Treme Etuahene, says it is important that everybody gets tested and know their status to help Ghana move a step closer to achieving the goals of the 90-90-90 treatment for all.
As a country, we need to identify or test and identify all persons living with HIV. And in the context of the 1990, at least find 90% of them. And currently, as at the end of 2018, we estimated that about 335,000 people live with HIV in Ghana. Of these 335,000 people, only 185,000 know their HIV status, which means we have roughly about 150,000 people who have HIV but have not tested, so they don't know that they have HIV.
He also mentioned that stigmatization is an offense that is punishable by law, and thus advised those with the condition to be serious about their medication and visit the clinic regularly.